Hey everyone! Welcome to another episode of the Radium Girls. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Valerie.
Have you seen the Amityville Horror? Well, today we bring you the story that movie was based on. The true events of the Amityville Horror that led to the movies, Anyways, let's just get into the story.
Oh, goodness.
Is any of that okay?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. Today we bring you the true story of the Amityville Horror.
Yes. What happened before the movies?
What happened before the movies? Mm-hmm. The origins.
Yes.
All right, let's dive right in.
112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, Long Island, New York is one of the most famous addresses for those interested in both horror and the paranormal. Everyone knows the story of George and Kathy Lutz, who purchased the Dutch Colonial in December 1975 and moved out only 28 days later. They said that a demonic entity tormented them, causing them to move in haste, leaving most of their property behind. Their experiences were published in a book, The Amityville Horror, written by Jay Anson. Anson's book was adapted into the 1979 classic horror film of the same name. The film spawned a franchise, 16 films, both directly or loosely based on the Lutz story. The story isn't about the Lutzes, it's about the DeFeos. The DeFeos were a family of 7 who purchased the house in 1965. Ronald DeFeo Sr. and his wife, Louise, Ronald Jr., Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John. 6 members were murdered in their sleep in the early hours of the morning on November 13, 1974. Ronald DeFeo Jr. eventually confessed to killing his family, but changed his story many times over the years. Their story is touched on in the Amityville films. Ronald DeFeo Sr. was verbally and physically abusive towards his wife and children. Besides Louise, his main target was his eldest child, Ronald Jr., called Butch. Butch DeFeo's friends were afraid to go to the DeFeo home as some had witnessed Ronald Sr. fly into a rage and either hit Louise or Butch. Butch DeFeo's friends, Barry Springer,
oh my
Jerry
gosh.
Springer.
Rest in peace, Jerry.
Rest in peace. Said that the DeFeo home was a crazy house and that they were always yelling at each other. Butch was bullied at school where he was beaten up and called fat. His father encouraged him to stand up to the bullies and fight back. As Butch got older, his temper became worse than his father's. He and his father often had physical altercations. Butch DeFeo is described as unpredictable. His temper would flare for no reason. His parents became concerned and even sent him to a psychiatrist. After psychiatry failed, they resorted to giving Butch whatever he wanted, including a speedboat.
Wow.
I don't think that helped him.
No.
He and his father still had their usual violent fights, even as Ronald Sr. placated his son with money and material possessions.
You don't reward bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. They just gave up on him.
Yeah, they did.
Gave him everything.
They did. Due to his behavior, Butch was asked to leave Amityville High School at age 17. After leaving school, he began to use LSD and heroin. His behavior became increasingly unpredictable and violent. While he was on a hunting trip with friends, Butch aimed his rifle at a man he knew since childhood. Mm-hmm. The man left, and when Butch saw his friend later that day, he asked him why he left so soon.
Dare someone.
Here's your sign. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
At age 18, he began working for his father and was given a weekly paycheck whether or not he showed up for work. Butch worked in the service department doing oil changes, tune-ups, and washes. He admitted that he took advantage of working for the family. He once told a psychiatrist that he could do whatever he wanted on the job because his father was his boss. Deborah Constantino, a server at the Chatterbox where Butch DeFeo frequently drank with his friends, said that he was usually a nice guy except for when he drank. She recalled him throwing bar stools and pool cues. Sherry Klein, his girlfriend at the time of the murders, also recalls an incident when Butch went to her apartment with some friends. They became very rowdy, and when she tried to calm Butch down, he shoved her across the room. She reportedly climbed through a window and went to her parents' house to get away from him. Neighbors described an incident with a woman named Mrs. Nemeth. She said Butch accused her daughter of throwing rocks at a religious shrine that the DeFeos had in their front yard. When she insisted that her daughter wouldn't do something like that, Butch became angry and began yelling at her. He said that if she were a man, that he'd punch her in the face, and that if her husband had a problem, he'd punch him in the face. As she walked away, neighbors said he followed her and continued yelling. Damn. In the weeks leading up to the murder, Butch threatened his father with a gun during an argument. His father trusted him with making a $20,000 deposit for the dealership. Butch said that the money was stolen and his father didn't believe him. I wouldn't believe him either. When police questioned Butch about the robbery, he was described as being uncooperative and even violent. Here's your sign again.
Why would you trust him?
Right. He probably spent it on LSD and heroin.
Yeah.
In November of 1974, Butch was 23 years old and still working for his father. He was kept on probation at the time. He pled guilty to having stolen an outboard motor. He admitted he kept the job at the dealership because he could come and go as he pleased, plus he needed paid stubs to show his probation officer. On November 13th, Butch left early for work, stopped at a luncheonette to pass the time as he waited for the dealership to open. He left work early to meet his girlfriend, Sherry. He also met with a friend named Bobby Kelsick.
He complained to both throughout the day that he wasn't able to get in touch with his family. He said that all the cars were in the garage, but no one was answering the phone. He even called home in front of his girlfriend. At 6 p.m., he was sitting in Henry's bar, which was not too far from his house. He tried to call home again and complained to friends about getting no answer. He said that he was going to go home and break into the house through a window. At around 6:30 p.m., he returned to the bar. He called out to patrons saying that his parents had been shot. A group of his friends left the bar with him. They went to the house and discovered the family was dead. A friend of his, Joseph... Yes, sir? Yes, sir? Yes, sir?
Yes, sir? I don't know.
Yes,
I would
sir?
do yes, sir.
Okay. A friend of his, Joseph Yassir, called the police. The bodies of Butch DeFeo's entire family were found dead, laying in their beds still dressed in their nightclothes. Deputy Chief Medical Examiner Howard Adelman would later determine that the DeFeo family bled to death in their beds due to gunshot wounds. Their murder weapon was a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. The parents were shot twice and each of the children once. So that's a big gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I spaced out, so I'm trying to catch myself up. Because I think I spaced out because this whole time I thought it said that it was the dad.
Oh, what? The dad?
That killed everybody.
Oh, no, it was the son.
Yeah, so I had to go and look and see that it did say Junior, and my brain did not process Junior. So, like, this whole time I'm sitting here, like, waiting for to get back to the dad.
Oh.
And so when you started saying this, I was like, so I spaced out. Let me catch up before you go.
Okay.
So the day they were supposedly shot, probably, he left early for work, stopped to get food. He stopped to meet his girlfriend and a friend. That's creating his alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wasn't able to get in touch with them. All the cars were in the garage. No one was answering. Called home in front of his girlfriend. Alibi.
Mm-hmm.
Or timeline. 6, he was at the bar. So he goes home. 6:30, he returns back. Calls out saying that they had been shot. Friends went with him. Discovered everybody was dead. Friend called the police. Still dressed in their night clothes. They were shot during the night. Bled to death. The murder weapon. Here's a shot twice. Which usually is, well, I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
Pam.
Robert DeFeo Sr., age 43, was shot twice in the lower back. One bullet exploded into his kidney and exited his right nipple onto the bed. Ouch. Mm-hmm. The other entered the base of the spine and was lodged into his neck.
Damn.
Ow. Ugh. I would not want to get shots.
No.
Oh, gosh.
Like, if I were to get shot and it was going to be a fatal shot, just...
Yeah, it was like, oh, it's traveling through my body? Tearing stuff up?
Just making me suffer.
God, yes. DeFeo Sr. could have been alive a few seconds to several minutes after being shot. Yeah, you just put me out. The waistband of his shorts were pulled down a bit, indicating that he had moved upward as he died.
Damn.
Oh, God, he suffered. Luis DeFeo, age 43, also was shot twice. Oh, they're the same age. The bullets entered her right flank and chest. One bullet landed on the mattress, and the other came out of the middle of the chest. Re-entered her left breast and wrist. Ow.
So she was probably on her side. And Dad was probably laying on his stomach.
Yeah. The bullet shattered her ribcage, splintered bone, and destroyed most of her right lung, diaphragm, and liver.
Oh.
Although face down, her chest was slightly raised from the bed, and her body was turned to the right. Okay, so maybe she heard. The medical examiner said that she could have been alive for several minutes after being shot, perhaps as many as 10. Her position indicated that she may have woken up, raised her upper body off the bed, and possibly looked toward the bedroom doorway in the killer's direction.
Damn.
So yeah, she probably did. And I'm going to have some graphic photos. So if y'all don't want to see that, I don't know, you just have to listen to it instead.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, so we have a picture of the dad and the mom in the bed.
I wonder why he didn't sleep under the covers.
That's a good question. Maybe he got hot. Mark, age 12, and John, age 9, were both shot in the back at close range. The medical examiner determined that the killer stood between the beds, less than 2 feet away. The bullets penetrated the liver, diaphragm, lungs, and heart of each. The bullets went through the boys' mattresses and into the box springs. John's spinal cord was severed, which may have caused involuntary twitching in the lower body. They got a wheelchair.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Dang, that's sad.
That is sad. Ooh. Dang, how do you do that to your own family?
Yeah. So this is just a family of stomach sleepers? I don't mean to make light of this, but...
Of what sleepers?
Stomach sleepers.
I thought the same thing, too.
They're all on their stomach.
They're all on their stomach.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh,
that's so sad, though.
It is sad. But I'm like, I don't know. Did they turn away? I don't know.
Oh, I think they were sleeping. He looks like he was in a sleeping position.
Yeah, his arms.
Yeah. This one too. I mean, I feel like maybe he raised up and lay back down. Oh man, that's so sad. Allison, age 13, was shot once in the face from less than 2 feet away. How can you look somebody in the face and do that? Look your sibling in the face and do that.
Your sibling.
She may have turned around and saw the muzzle of the gun. The bullet entered her left cheek and moved to her right ear. Then it tore into her brain and damaged her skull. The bullet exited, ripped through the mattress, hit the back wall, and ricocheted to the floor.
Whew.
Yeah. That's so sad. Dawn, age 18, was shot at the back of the neck from 2.5 feet away. The bullet entered just below her left ear and blasted through the temple onto her pillow. The left side of her face collapsed. Brain particles mixed with the blood saturating her pillow.
Dang, man.
That's just so sad. Butch told police he stayed home from work the day before with an upset stomach. He said that he watched a late-night movie and fell asleep around 2 a.m. in the TV room. He awoke at 4 a.m. with pains in his stomach and said that he saw his brother Mark's wheelchair outside the bathroom door. His brother broke his leg playing football.
Okay.
He said that he saw the bathroom light on from under the door and heard the toilet flush. He said that he was well rested from the day before, so he decided to go to work. He ate at a luncheonette, went to work, left early, and saw his girlfriend and some friends. At first, Butch claimed the murders had to have been committed by a man named Louis Fellini, which was a pseudonym, who Butch said was a mafia hitman. He said that a few years ago, Fellini and his wife had lived with his family for a little while after their house burned down in Brooklyn. He said that Fellini had a key to the house in which he buried a box of money and jewels. Butch also said that he had a violent argument with Fellini after he and his wife moved. Fellini criticized the paint job that Butch had done for the dealership. He described throwing a brush at Fellini, breaking the window behind him. He said his father told him that Fellini was a professional hitman and that Butch didn't know what he had done by calling him names. Butch also said that 2 weeks before the murders, during the argument regarding the robbery, his father said that not only did he have to worry about his phony robbery, but he also had to worry about losing a friend, meaning Fellini. He said that Butch's argument with Fellini put him in a position where he had to tell Fellini that if anything happened to Butch, that he was going to kill Fellini's entire family. Butch's father told him that now, because of Butch, he had to watch out for Ma and the kids. As he spoke to investigators, Butch told them about some of his criminal activity. He admitted to burglarizing a neighbor's home with a friend to steal antiques to sell. He also admitted to using heroin and told them about being on probation. When he was asked about how he was getting away with using drugs on probation, Butch told them that Dawn was providing him with urine samples. He prefaced his confessions by saying that he wanted to be completely honest with them. He kept emphasizing this, meaning that if he's willing to admit all of these things to the police, then he must be telling the truth about the murders. He also added that the police should look for the box that Fellini had hid. He said that if they found the box empty or didn't find the box at all, that meant he must have been there. Of course, the police never found a box, because it wasn't there in the first place.
Right. Butch's grandfather, Michael Barante Sr., arrived on the scene with his son-in-law, Vincent Procida,
I guess.
Vincent Procida. They were both asked about Butch and Fellini. His grandfather said that he knew Fellini and that he was a great guy. He said that he didn't know where Fellini lived and didn't know his phone number. He's described as seeming insulted when asked if he thought Fellini committed the murders. When asked about his grandson, Brigante said that he was a wonderful grandson and that he was very proud of him. Ooh. Again, he described as insulted when asked if Butch could have committed the murders. Vincent didn't know who Fellini was, but said that he knew that Butch was involved with drugs. Vincent didn't think Butch was capable of committing the murders. In an interview years later, Butch's friend, Barry Springer, said that at the time of the murders, Butch had been using drugs for 5 years and that the drugs were taking their toll on him, making him dangerous. Mm-hmm. Neighbors described Butch as a wild teenager who was not all there. They thought he did commit the murders.
I mean, it kind of points to him definitely committing these murders.
Yeah. As police continued searching the DeFeo home, they found a .35 caliber Marlin rifle. It wasn't among the firearms in Butch's room, but in a separate box with a .22 caliber rifle. Investigators learned that Butch was a gun buff and that in the weeks leading up to the murders, he was looking to purchase a silencer.
Oh?
Suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
After finding the murder weapon, police focused their investigation on Butch DeFeo. When police questioned him again, Butch continued to insist that they needed to find Fellini. When he was asked if he ate dinner with the family that night, they found Butch's attitude toward his family wasn't that of a grieving son and big brother. Butch said that he didn't eat dinner with the family that night. When asked why, he said that it was because his mother Louise was a lousy cook and she made some brown shit in a bowl for dinner that he wasn't going to eat.
Well, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
When asked about his family, he had nothing nice to say. He described his brothers, Mark and John, as fucking pigs. He said that he shared a bathroom with them, and they left it a mess usually, with toilet paper hanging out of the toilet and shit on the back seat.
Ugh.
I said back seat. Whatever. Should I say back of the seat?
Up to you. I think it's fine either way.
It's fine. When asked about Dawn, which describes her as a fat fuck who played her music too loud, he said that when he yelled at her to turn it down, his father would intervene and hit him.
Damn.
He had nothing to say about Allison. When asked about his grandfather, Michael Brigante Sr., Butch called him a cheap bastard and said that he took advantage of him and stole from him any chance he got by coming in late to work or leaving early. He was proud of you.
Right.
Man.
Disrespectful.
Yes. Freaking spoiled. What do you call it?
Entitled?
Entitled.
Yeah.
Interestingly, his family had just been killed. You would think someone wouldn't be focusing on all the negatives at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Police told him that they found the murder weapon and the ammo. They also said that his family was determined to have been killed between 3 and 4 a.m., so they could not have been killed while Butch was at work. Butch then told one of the many stories of what happened that night. Oh, when they changed their stories.
Yeah.
He said that Fellini and an accomplice murdered his family and forced him to watch.
Okay.
Good one. Investigators then asked if he was forced to take part in the murders. They asked if the two men forced him to get his hands dirty, so to speak, and kill one of his family members. I feel like I'm saying it weird.
That time it sounded weird.
Members. And kill one of his family members. Whatever.
It was good.
Butch put his head in his hands and told the investigators to give him a minute.
Get your story straight.
Let me get my story straight. Oh. He then said that Fellini and the accomplice weren't there that night and that it didn't happen that way. It was then that he confessed to murdering his family.
Wow.
You should have just said that in the first place.
Right, right. Like, you're clearly not going to get out of this.
No.
During his trial, his attorney tried to mount an insanity defense. He claimed that DeFeo heard voices that told him his family was plotting against him. He also claimed he was possessed. At one point, he was shown a picture of his mother and claimed that he didn't know who she was. He also claimed that he killed them in self-defense. They were clearly sleeping.
Right. They're all in their beds.
Right. Like in a sleeping position.
Yes.
Nah. When he first confessed to the murders, he admitted to getting rid of the evidence. He also made sure to call home in front of people he knew and complained to everybody he saw that day that his family was not answering the phone and that he didn't have keys to get into the house. You're setting up your alibi. His behavior shows some organization and planning. He was cognizant of what he'd done. Psychiatrist Daniel Schwartz supported the insanity plea, but Dr. Harold Zolan?
It's up to you on that one.
But Dr. Harold Zolan, it feels weird. Zolan feels better.
Yeah.
But Dr. Harold Zolan countered on behalf of the prosecution. Dr. Zolan said that although DeFeo was a user of heroin and LSD, he had an antisocial personality disorder and was aware of his actions at the time of the crime. DeFeo was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder in November of 1975. He was sentenced to 6 sentences of 25 years to life. Damn. DeFeo filed many appeals and a request to the parole board, which were all declined. Good. During the years, he said that his mother committed the murders.
Oh my God.
And didn't want to upset his grandfather by saying that Luis DeFeo was a killer. He also said that a demonic female figure with black hands wearing a black hood handed him the murder weapon. I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it kind of is.
It's just ridiculous.
He had admitted he was under the influence of drugs in the TV room at the time. DeFeo was also eventually admitted to drinking a fifth of scotch daily in addition to drugs. He described his behavior around the time of the murders as out of control. His friend, Barry Springer, described him as an outright junkie. He went from blaming his mother to saying that his sister Dawn was the killer. I'm sorry, it's just outrageous.
The whole family at one point was the killer.
Right.
Everyone but him.
Right, exactly. That she was the killer and that he killed her in self-defense. Yet the images clearly show she was in a defensive, manner. Yeah, okay. She was... No. In a prison interview, DeFeo said that the entire family wasn't supposed to be killed. He said that his father was the only one who had to go and that he was planning on hiring someone to kill him. He said that he would have had it happen anywhere other than in the house, most likely in his car. On the night of the murders, he said that he told Dawn that if she wanted to kill their parents, to just go ahead and do it. He got her the weapon and told her that it was all ready to go, just pull the trigger. He said that she shot both their parents and that he left the house. When he came back, he said he found their siblings dead. When he confronted Dawn, she pointed the gun at him. He said that he fought with her and that he shot her in self-defense. Nah.
Creative story.
According to the forensic evidence, Dawn had unburned gunpowder on her nightgown, which may indicate that she could have fired a weapon. Don't tell us that. What the hell? Maybe he forced her to do it.
I don't think she did it, though.
Journalist Rick Moran gave an interview stating that the years after the murders, a DEA agent contacted him. He said that the agent had the DeFeo home under surveillance and that he saw a young woman dressed in a dark hooded winter jacket leave the house at night. He described her as wearing dark gloves. He said that he saw her throw a rifle into her car and drive away. Moran believes this could account for DeFeo's story about the hooded female demon with the black hands. He believes that Dawn could have killed the family and that Butch killed her. Moran also said that he was one of the many reporters on the scene from the night of the murders and that he overheard DeFeo's grandfather, what'd you say?
I think Brigante.
Brigante Sr. talking to him. Moran said that Brigante told Butch that he didn't want to hear anything more about Dawn and that he was tired of Butch dragging the family name through the mud. Moran said that Brigante told Butch that he needed to confess to the murders. When asked about whether Dawn could have killed the family, Springer said that Dawn was a bomb ready to go off because of the abuse that she'd suffered. He says anything could have happened and that Dawn could have been the killer. What?
Why wouldn't you go with that story in the first place? Why would you say someone killed your family?
Right. If you really killed her in self-defense, why wouldn't that be your first angle? And why wouldn't you contact the authorities right then and there?
Yeah.
At 4 a.m.
Instead of running back to the bar and being like, they're all dead.
I mean, he was high on drugs, so apparently.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Whole family. There are many versions of what happened in Amityville on the morning of November 13th, 1974. Ronald DeFeo Jr. has come forward with stories ranging from it being a mob hit, admitting that it was him, to female demons and voices heard in drug-induced fog, to his mother snapping and killing the family, to his sister Dawn being the killer, and him having to kill her in self-defense. Through the years, it has been questioned how 6 people were killed in their beds by a loud shotgun blast. Was the family drugged? Did DeFeo have an accomplice? He said in a prison interview that he doesn't know why no one believes his stories. Because there's many.
The point is that he said stories.
Yeah, he said stories.
There's only one truth.
Right? How is it that they think he acted alone? Forensic evidence indicates that the family was asleep, their time of death determined between 3 and 4 a.m., no drugs were present in their systems, and there was no sign of a struggle.
Which makes me believe that there's no way Dawn did it, because if he was acting in self-defense, he would have, tried to... They would have fought.
Yeah. That's not... Yeah.
And wasn't Dawn the oldest one? No,
Yeah.
Allison was the oldest one.
No, Allison was
Dawn
13.
was the oldest.
Yeah. And Dawn was 18.
I mean, look at her in her bed. Unless he moved her... from somewhere. And it said that she was shot in the back of the neck from 2.5 feet away.
Yeah.
And it was clear that it was like through into her pillow.
Yeah, so she was laying down unless he like threw her down, knocked her out onto the bed or something, but no.
What does puzzle me is how nobody woke up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, that nobody woke up.
I mean, it said that he
tried.
Looked for a silencer, but it never said that he got one, right?
Unless he had one and got rid of it. But yeah, it didn't say he had one.
It's odd. Mm-hmm. Just a little odd they didn't wake up.
It is. The medical examiner determined that they were all shot at close range and that of Louise DeFeo did wake up and turn around just before she was shot. This indicates that the shots fired on her husband did wake her.
So she woke up because they were right there. And so that means the dad had to have been shot first, then the mom. And I mean, kids can sleep through anything.
That's loud.
It's likely.
I mean,
but a 35 caliber rifle, yeah, that's going to be loud.
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. Maybe they were just too scared.
Yeah, I don't know.
About all of them? I don't know. What we do have is a story of a dysfunctional family. Mm-hmm. A family described as constantly fighting with each other under the thumb of a violent father. Don't mess with your kids.
For real.
They will grow up and kill you.
Yeah.
You just can't mess with them because they're going to grow up messed up and do messed up things.
Yeah.
So, perhaps this served as a pressure cooker for the family's eldest son. People who knew his family said that he bore the brunt of his father's abuse. He also was verbally abused and beaten up at school. So yeah, that didn't help either. Mm-mm. While it's certainly not an excuse, being the victim of constant violence since childhood can certainly cause someone to become violent. We also could look into mental illness as a factor. DeFeo's friend even said that the abuse in the household was so severe that Don could have snapped. Abuse, mental illness, or a combination of the two, those who knew DeFeo all described him as violent with little provocation. Whatever happened that night was taken to Ronald DeFeo Jr.'s grave. He passed away on March 12, 2021, at the age of 69. He was still incarcerated at Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. So he, just died. It's crazy. Yeah, so all of that abuse on top of alcohol, drugs, your brain ain't gonna be happy. Look at the girls are so pretty. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's totally that dude. I don't think Don had anything to do with it. The house was big, but I mean, you would still hear that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised none of the neighbors heard anything.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. My sus is that there was a silencer.
Yeah, maybe he got rid of it or something.
She was going to be so beautiful. I mean, they all were. Dang.
It's crazy.
That's so sad.
It is. And he did that.
He did that.
He did that to his whole family. And pretended not to.
Is this dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to that house.
It's crazy. I think they did have to change the address or something so people wouldn't go. But I mean, you could still find it.
Yeah.
But
dang, they did.
Have you seen the movie?
I'm trying to remember.
I used to love them, or at least the first one. I might have to watch it again sometime.
Yeah, I may have to watch it.
But they had a newer version with his face.
What's his face?
What's his face?
Oh, that's
Brian?
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch it.
It's basically the same thing. But yeah, so all those movies are for what happened afterward to the Lutz family. So the Lutz family moved in and they were haunted and shit like that. And then they moved out 28 days later, leaving everything behind. And so, but then the next family that moved in was nothing happened to them. And that's the story of the Amityville Horror.
That's so sad.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. People just lose it.
Ugh, look at him. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy he lived through COVID.
Right, yeah.
He was here for COVID. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Because it seems like so long ago. But
It does, but...
He just died. It's crazy. And he was 69.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was thinking about this, I was like, people could interview him. I didn't know he had passed, but people could still interview him because, I mean, this was 70s.
Mm-hmm.
He was only 20-something. Like, yeah.
They must have made those movies pretty fast because there's so many of it, like 16.
Yeah, it said 16. And this one came out 77.
77, and it happened when?
Oh, the book came out in 77.
I think I read the book.
And the movie came out in 79. And this was 74.
So it happened in 74.
3 years later.
And then the movie came in. Dang.
They literally started working on the book and the movie as soon as it happened.
Came out fast.
Damn.
Wait, because then it had to be right after the Lutz family moved because they're like, it's always about them.
Yeah, the Lutz family moved in 75.
And then the movie came out, huh?
The murders take place in 74. The Lutz family moved in and out in 75. Okay. The book came out in 77. So as soon as the Lutz family moved out, I'm sure they started writing the book.
Yeah.
And then once the book got some traction, 2 years later, they made the first movie.
So yeah, it happened pretty fast. And also
put out the first movie.
What's their faces? The couple?
And Lorraine.
Yeah. They visited the house too.
I did just see
crazy. Yeah.
They're dead now, right?
Are they both dead?
Yeah,
or just
they're both dead. He died in 2006. She died in 2019.
Oh, shit.
There was another couple that was...
That's right, because...
we talked about them.
Yeah, the son taking over the things, the museum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch the movie now.
Yeah, I kind of want to rewatch it because I used to love it.
Anyways, yeah, so that was the Amityville Horror, the true story.
Yeah, the origin.
Yeah. Let us know if you knew about this, because I didn't know the true story.
Crazy.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, share with all your friends, rate us, and all that stuff. Leave us comments on our YouTube and anywhere that you can. Submit your ideas to us, and yeah, we're on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Give us some more paranormal ideas.
Yeah, these are fun. We like them.
These are like not paranormal, but it claims to be paranormal.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. As always, stay curious.